Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. My name is Kimberly Suardi, that's KIMBERLYSYUARDI, and I'm CAIR Maryland's Outreach Coordinator. We are here today to announce the filing of a federal lawsuit challenging the University of Maryland College Park's cancellation of a vigil organized by Palestinian and Jewish student advocates for Palestine, mourning the over 40,000 Palestinians killed during Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza. I myself am a recent graduate of the University of Maryland College Park, and I'm so disappointed and frustrated to see my alma mater join many other universities in attempting to silence anti-genocide voices. After our speakers have shared their remarks, we will hold the floor for questions from the press. We kindly ask that you hold your questions until the end. Without further ado, let me turn it over to Qadir Abbas, National Deputy Litigation Director at CAIR National, to start our press conference. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Qadir Abbas, G-A-D-E-I-R-A-B-B-A-S. The University System of Maryland, the University of Maryland College Park, and Dr. Pines, the president of this university, have made a serious mistake. They forgot that the First Amendment applies to them. And in forgetting that, they canceled all student-led activities across all campuses in the University System Maryland on one particular day next month. They did that for a viewpoint reason. They did that to suppress Students for Justice in Palestine from advocating and from promoting their message on campus. We should trust the United States Constitution. We should not trust the hysterical knee-jerk reactions of campus officials. These students want to mark October 7th as the beginning of an ongoing genocide committed by a foreign country with American weapons. That's protected by the First Amendment, whether or not Dr. Pines likes that message, whether or not campus officials like that message, and whether or not the University System of Maryland leaders want it heard or not. This isn't up to them. This is up to the Constitution, and we're looking forward to a court ordering campus officials to do the right thing and allow this interfaith vigil to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Qadir. Our next speaker is Ahmad Kaki, the legal assistant from CAIR National, and he'll be reading a statement from Palestine Legal, attorney Tori Perel.
We are sharing the following statement by our co-counsel, Palestine Legal, with all quotes attributable to Palestine Legal staff attorney Tori Perel. Throughout history, students have been at the forefront of speaking out in favor of civil rights and for divestment from apartheid from South Africa to Palestine. The University of Maryland cannot ignore the Constitution and abruptly censor Palestinian and Jewish students simply because anti-Palestinian groups complain. It's the job of universities to seek out, not censor, robust debate on pressing social issues. The University of Maryland's decision, if not challenged, will inevitably chill and intimidate Palestinian and associated students on campus into believing that basic expression of solidarity with Palestinians will be met with censorship and punishment by the university. The knee-jerk decision by the university to curtail free expression in response to pressure from lobby groups or individuals who oppose Palestinian rights is egregious and unlawful, and we are ready to challenge it in court. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. Our next speaker is a representative from the University of Maryland Students for Justice in Palestine, Daniela Colombi.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniela, and I'm a third-year undergraduate student at the University of Maryland College Park, majoring in physics and astronomy. I dream of a world where our children can look to the night sky to point out the stars rather than airstrikes and quadcopters. I am a member of Students for Justice in Palestine at the University of Maryland College Park, an institutionally recognized student organization. Our SJP is part of a global student movement unified in our advancement of the Palestinian cause. Our primary mission at SJP is to increase awareness about the human rights violations committed against the Palestinian people and decompose imperialist narratives. Our core values are centered around equality, justice, and liberation, not just for Palestine, but for all. We believe that no one is free until we are all free, and that the shackles of oppression must inevitably fall. Our advocacy revolves around a few fundamental points. 1. Educating the campus community about human rights violations perpetrated by the settler colonialist Zionist state of Israel and the United States. 2. Fostering a community of Palestinians and allies to advance the Palestinian cause from local to global levels, starting right here on this College Park campus. And 3. Celebrating Palestinian culture. Our SJP has a strong conviction that the way forward to peace is through liberation. And so, guided by love and by principle, we reject all forms of discrimination and oppression, whether it be across ethnicities, religions, class, and beyond. If Palestine is the beating heart of our movement, it is our growing unity that nourishes the soul of this very movement. And when we focus on the College Park campus in particular, McKeldin Mall becomes a crucial point for progressing towards this free thought and expression. McKeldin Mall is a well-known area of campus, and being a public space, it is quite central to socialization and the free exchange of ideas that one would expect a university to regard with sanctity. In fact, on top of being an institutional landmark, it is also a historical place of public protest. Back in the 1980s, when South African apartheid was still being justified by the powers that be, a student movement burgeoned forth. Actually, as President Daryl Pines protested at UC Berkeley in favor of divestment from South African apartheid, our very own McKeldin, right here, McKeldin Mall, became home to a protest shantytown. In recent years, McKeldin Mall has seen many protests, like about climate change, racial justice, and sexual assault. In fact, as UMD SJP, we have previously organized many events of our own on McKeldin Mall, including as recently as August 28th, 2024, on the second day of classes. On that day, we displayed thousands upon thousands of white flags, representing the murders of Palestinians in Gaza over the course of the past year of escalated genocide. Countless new students approached, wanting to learn more, and are starting to become active on campus. Now, we could not allow October 7th to be monopolized by one viewpoint on campus. On top of the over 76 years of occupation and violation, we wanted to highlight that October 7th not only marks 1 year into the escalated genocide of Palestine, but also 1 year of steadfastness so powerful that words could not even scratch its surface. We hope to highlight the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Palestinians who have been brutally killed. Among them are thousands of children, their mothers, their fathers, uncles, cousins, journalists, doctors, teachers. The list goes on. We sought to use this reservation to awaken in our community the understanding that these people are not merely numbers, and they never were. They had dreams, loves, and futures. Beyond honoring the people that have been taken from us, we feel a profound responsibility to raise awareness about the conditions that our brothers and sisters in Palestine continue to experience. For this reason, we also wanted to educate our broader community about Palestinian culture, such as art and food, because part of genocide is the erasure of a people's culture. Truly, we understand that existence is resistance. Moreover, as students, we understand that while we return to school, there is no first day of school in Gaza, and negligible safety for the students in the West Bank. This October 7th also marks a year of scholasticide in Gaza. Every university in Gaza has been obliterated, completely obliterated. And along with them, their students and professors. What students would we be to not stand in unity with our peers? The institution of the university's Free Speech Blackout Day is without a doubt a dangerous step and a monumental attack on our right to free speech. However, UMD's repression has implications far beyond affecting us as individuals or even as UMD SJP. If we did not challenge this restriction, what would the administration do next? UMD's draconian repression, if allowed to become an obscene precedent, would be disproportionately weaponized to attack pro-Palestinian free expression. And as UMD SJP, we have a responsibility to our fellow peers at this university and to students nationwide to stand up for our collective and constitutional rights to free expression. In the end, by canceling our event, the University of Maryland has continued to deliberately erase the Palestinian perspective from campus and is engaging in genocide denial in favor of Zionist ideology. Now, in the end, as SJP, we are horrified beyond words at the obstruction of the advancement of equality, justice, and liberation by the hands of the University of Maryland College Park, the University System of Maryland, and the President himself, Dr. Darrell Pines. We urge them to correct the damages they have caused and fully restore our reservation for an educational event on October 7th in line with our constitutional rights.
Thank you so much, Daniela. Our last speaker for this press conference will be another student from SJP, Abel Amine.
Hello, my name is Abel Amine, and I'm a fourth-year undergraduate student at the University of Maryland. I'm currently working on a double Bachelor of Science degrees in physics and economics. I spent a significant amount of time studying in a building, the engineering building that you can see from here, named after Glenn L. Martin, who is also the namesake of Lockheed Martin, a major contractor of the US and Israeli militaries. Adjacent to that building, on the fourth floor of the physics building where I study, is a hallway lined with the logos of the very same military contractors, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Mantech, and many other defense contractors. The trademarks of these companies are dispersed throughout this campus, on plaques, on buildings, and offices, even all over the university's website. This campus is the most militarized university in the United States. This is not just me saying this. This is according to a report by Vice News, which ranked all universities in the US based on how closely tied they are to the country's military establishment. I learned about this also through our campus publication, The Diamondback, and I'm glad they're here today to report on this. The connection between this university, the University System of Maryland, and the military-industrial complex goes deep. Among members of the Board of Regents of one of the defendants in this case, the University System of Maryland, of which this university is the flagship, among these regents are current and former members of Lockheed Martin's, officers of Lockheed Martin and other military contractors. So it would seem it is not surprising that the university seeks to distract us from what is plain to see all around us. Distract us from the fact that this university is intricately connected to the complex systems that perpetuate genocide in Palestine. But let me explain what I mean by this university seeks to distract us. To illustrate this point, I'm going to read a quote by Toni Morrison, a novelist and educator. The quote, which will be mentioned as part of my declarations in the filings of this case, was originally presented by Morris as part of a keynote address at the Black Studies Center Public Dialogue in Portland State University in 1975. Morrison was pro-Palestinian. I will note she was among the authors of a letter from 18 writers, which was published in 2006. She was among the members of a proud black radical tradition of thinkers, progressives, and organizers who unflinchingly supported the Palestinian cause. So it is apt that we refer to her teachings for a reference point for what is happening here and the implicit racism and discrimination in the university's actions in censoring our speech. I mention all this history because even from this brief pulpit that I've been given, our mission as SJP remains the same. It is to educate. In 1975, at this event notably titled Public Dialogue, and also notably hosted at a state university, Morrison explained, "It is important to know the function, the very serious function of racism, which is distraction. It keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reason for being. Somebody says you have no language, so you spend 20 years proving that you do. Somebody says your head isn't shaped properly, so you have scientists working on the fact that it is. Someone says you have no art, so you dredge up that. Somebody says you have no kingdoms, so you dredge up that. None of that is necessary. There will always be one more thing." As Morrison points out, racism's main goal is to distract us from making progress. Anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, anti-West Asian, anti-African racism is no different. Without any evidence, our opponents on and off campus riled up the UMD community into a frenzy, accusing us of all manner of evil, simply on the basis of stereotypes and conjecture, because, like all racists, they seek to distract from the truth of the matter. But what is the truth they seek to distract us from? The truth is that the State of Israel is a racist, genocidal project that seeks to eliminate and eradicate the Palestinian people and build an ethno-state on the land of historic Palestine. It is this truth that this university, in response to our detractors' complaints, seeks to censor us from spreading. The calls for the university to cancel SJP's event on October 7th have been based on assumptions and included racist and dehumanizing language. As you can see, most of our members are people of color. They are Black, Arab, Muslim, Southeast Asian, and many are Palestinians. They are hijabi and often visibly from marginalized gender and ethnic backgrounds. When we made a reservation on campus, without even us saying anything about our event, simply based on the name of our organization, Students for Justice in Palestine, people began calling us terrorists, saying that we want to glorify death, or that we are anti-Semitic, when you can see many of our members in our movement are Jewish. These assumptions are harmful, and by canceling our event, the university affirms those assumptions and takes them as true. But as I've said, these racist assumptions about my Black, African, Arab, and Palestinian siblings are nothing but a distraction. So what is the work from which they seek to distract us from? They seek to distract us from the planning of a culturally enriching and pro-Palestinian event. They seek to distract us from honoring the Palestinian lives lost over the past year and over the past century, and especially since the Nakba in 1948. They seek to distract us from shining a light on the horrifying human rights abuses and crimes against humanity being perpetrated by the Zionist colonialism in Palestine. In the more immediate, they seek to distract us from simply planning an event on October 7th on this campus. Our plan for the event on October 7th has a few different parts. While we are still in the planning stages of this event, that is still 3 weeks out, we had begun to formulate some ideas of what it would include. We plan to start by passing out flyers to educate people about the Palestinian history and culture. We also plan to highlight that over the past year, 40,000 Palestinians have been directly killed by Israel during this escalation of genocide. Beyond those 40,000 deaths, the indirect deaths from this genocide, including from famine, disease, and other disasters, are plausibly estimated to have reached 186,000. This according to the European medical journal The Lancet. It is this mention of more than 150,000 Palestinian martyrs, and here I'm quoting directly from one of the letters that our detractors were sending. It is this fact that it is plausible that more than 150,000 Palestinians have been killed that they seek to distract us from highlighting at this event. Our event on McKeldin Wall on October 7th is not only about death, it will also highlight the core values of SJP, which are justice, equality, and liberation for all oppressed people. In the afternoon, we were planning to have teach-ins from our partner organizations on topics including Black Palestinian solidarity and the history and culture of Palestine. We had planned to have tables showcasing Palestinian culture, such as art and tatris, which is traditional Palestinian embroidery. We plan to fly kites, which are symbolic of freedom in Palestinian poetry, and memorialize an outspoken Palestinian poet who was targeted and murdered by Israel, including several of his family. We hope that this event would be a place for the community to process their emotions, grieve together, so we planned the end of the night with a vigil and an interfaith prayers. We plan to also include speeches by a few UMD-SJP members who have lost many of their family members in Gaza. However, instead, we have spent the past few weeks distracted by these racist assumptions which have been affirmed and supported by the university. This is the harm this university has caused us, its students. Rather than protecting its students, the University System of Maryland, and the state of Maryland has chosen to censor and suppress our speech, unconstitutionally siding with another group in violation of our First Amendment rights. We are here to say clearly and emphatically, we will not abide by this. Divest, disclose, we will not stop, we will not rest. Divest, disclose, we will not stop, we will not rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much to our speakers and our students for coming out here today. The press conference will now be concluded and our speakers are ready for one-on-one interviews. Thank you so much.
Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Has the event been rescheduled if it remains canceled? And also, who initiated this lawsuit? Did SJP reach out to CAIR, or did you all reach out to SJP?
SJP filed the lawsuit against the University System of Maryland, UMD College Park, and Dr. Pines. We're committed to doing this event on October 7th, and so any effort to reschedule it is going to have to be litigated in court. Other questions? Yeah.
I'm assuming that the defendants in this case will try to invoke the time, place, manner. I'm just curious, like, what your response to that would be as a lawyer?
Yeah, for time, place, manner restrictions, that's like a rule that says you can't protest after midnight or something like that. Even for those types of restrictions, you have to have a legitimate interest. And it's not a legitimate interest to exclude a viewpoint from campus. And that's what the problem is here. It's not just that they're speaking themselves, it's that they're preventing SJP and other like-minded students from speaking out at all. And so that ends up being the problem, is even if the court treats it as a time, place, and manner restriction, because the purpose is illegitimate to suppress a viewpoint, it's illegal anyways. Yeah.
So it hinges on whether you can prove that the purpose is to suppress.
Yeah, so they would need to have a purpose that's unrelated to the content of SJP's message. So let's say, for example, if they were concerned that there was too many people would show up and they had reserved just the classroom, that could be a time, place, manner restriction. You need a size adequate to the use, but this is not it. This is on its face. And remember, the best evidence for it being a viewpoint discrimination is the Pines letter, it's the USM letter. They told us themselves, yeah. Other questions?
So what do you say to some people who may say that the reason this is because of Satan?
Well, the letter, UMD's president asked the police whether there was a security issue about them doing any events on October 7th. And the police said there's no immediate or active threat. And so that's off the table by them. What this is the campus officials ignoring the First Amendment and preferring the views of some students over others. And that's something that the First Amendment doesn't allow.
And so you guys attempt to move forward now, right?
I'm sorry?
You guys are going to move forward with what?
With the First Amendment behind them, SJP is very confident that the interfaith vigil that they plan to hold on October 7th will be held on October 7th. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.